Hi everybody, welcome back. If you don't know me, I'm Anna, a clinical psychology doctoral candidate. Today we're talking about why you sabotage love based on a study from Pila and Caltabiano from 2021. This is again from the playlist Research Revealed, where I look at one study at a time that I think would be interesting to you and try to make that information accessible. I'm really happy to be finally talking about a somewhat qualitative study because I think it is very important research and I think it really fits in with today's topic as well. A little bit of background information. Romantic sabotage is defined as employing a pattern of self-destructive behaviors in relationships to impede success or to withdraw your efforts and justify your own failure. So for example, I'm in a relationship, I really like the person and that scares me, I'm worried they might hurt me, I do something to sabotage the relationship so that they won't get a chance to hurt me, the relationship ends, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. So past research has asked psychologists how people self-sabotage in relationships, and they came up with the following 12 themes. Partner attack, so things like criticism and lack of communication skills. Partner pursuit, things like clinginess. Partner withdrawal, things like stonewalling. Defensiveness, contempt, self-esteem. Controlling tendencies, like controlling the partner's finances. Relationship skills, trust difficulty. Destructive tendency, like excessive drinking. Attitude to affairs, and relationship beliefs. So these were the 12 themes of previous research, but we're not going to be talking about that study today. We're going to be talking about the present study that wanted to see whether lay people, so regular non-psychologists, might describe the same kind of self-sabotage as psychologists who are just observing the phenomenon from afar. So the sample that they looked at was 696 participants, which is huge for a theme analysis, like very ambitious study. They were 15 to 80 years old, with the mean being 30.58 years old. They were 75% female, 25% male, 80% straight, 12.5% bisexual, 4.5% gay, 2% other, and 1% prefer not to answer. They were very culturally diverse from 50 countries all over the world. The majority were from Australia, the US, and Southeast Asia. So this study looks into why people sabotage their relationships, how they sabotage them, and how you can make less destructive decisions. And so that is exactly the categories that we're going to assess in this video. So the findings, reasons why people sabotage relationships. The TLDR is that they do it to self-protect. It's not always with the purpose of destroying something, but rather with the purpose of self-preservation. So the first theme was fear. Fear of being hurt. So fear of if you get too close, your actions have a lot of potential to hurt me. Fear of rejection. If you get too close, maybe you won't like what you'll find, or I won't be good enough. Fear of abandonment. If you get too close and then leave me, that's gonna hurt me a lot. I won't be able to deal with that. Fear of commitment. Like if you get too close, I won't be able to live independently anymore and I'll feel tied to you against my will. It's interesting, but I feel like a lot of people who self-sabotage in these 4 categories tend to be in relationships together. Like I've often seen a person that's afraid of getting rejected or abandoned with a person that's afraid of committing. At the end of the day, both are kind of just afraid. They just want to make sure that they're safe. They're trying to protect themselves and they end up sabotaging the relationship instead. The second theme was difficulty with self-esteem and negative self-concept. Sometimes people sabotage relationships because they feel like they're not good enough, or maybe they seek excessive validation from their partner, or maybe they have an inferiority complex. In high school, I had a friend whose boyfriend clearly resented her because he had an inferiority complex. And when we were all applying to colleges, they both ended up applying to some of the same colleges. But instead of being happy for her, like, oh, we might end up at the same place, that would be fantastic, he yelled at her and said that she was trying to steal the spot from him or someone else who deserved it more. That she didn't really want to attend that school, she was just doing it for shits and gigs. Nothing screams inferiority more than that. If he felt good about his application, why would he feel threatened? He would be confident that they're both going to get in, but that was not what happened. But beyond just antagonistic inferiority, sometimes people sabotage because they just think, who am I to deserve love? I'm a nobody. My partner deserves better than me. They can do so much better. Why would they even want to be with me? Or maybe you're with someone who is considered a more successful or attractive or whatever partner, And in order to avoid getting hurt, you go ahead and sabotage the relationship yourself. The third theme was broken trust. So sometimes people have a history of infidelity or deception, either in current or past relationships. I just made a video on how to avoid deception in your relationship based on research. If that's something you want to look at, check it out here. So if your partner or the person before them broke your trust, you might not ever want to let someone in like that again. It could be related to jealousy or avoiding relationships to not get hurt. But we all know that one guy that's like, I can't be with you. When I was 14, a girl broke my heart and she took another guy to middle school prom and I've never been the same again. By the way, are you up? But in all seriousness, like, broken trust is a real reason why people push their partners away. If you've been burned once, it makes sense that you're not going to want to get burned again. If you put your whole trust in someone for years and years and years, and then you find out that was all built on a lie, why would you trust again? The fourth theme was high expectations. Sometimes, I think this is more of a rare one, but I do think it's true that sometimes people have impossibly high standards. They get caught up in the fantasy of the perfect relationship, the desire for a fairy tale. They see seemingly perfect relationships on TV, on social media, and they think that it's realistic to have a perfectly smooth, successful relationship. In my experience, like I said, this is kind of a rare one. People actually let their partners get away with a lot, and they let people walk all over their standards more often than not, but sometimes it can happen. Like, sometimes people might sabotage real connections because one person does one thing wrong, or they don't hit all the boxes on the very extensive checklist that they want. So they don't even give them a chance, and they're always comparing them to some mythical prince or princess that has no flaws. The example that comes to mind, of course, no idea if this was scripted or whatever, but Natalie from Love is Blind season 2 talks about how sometimes she doesn't want to pursue a relationship with people even because they wear like jean shorts, for example. Obviously it's a bit of a silly example, but like, that can be a good example of having impossibly high standards for people. And the fifth theme of why people self-sabotage is lack of relationship skills. Sometimes, either because of young age or immaturity or missing social skills or the inability to handle what happens if the relationship doesn't work out, people sabotage without even realizing it. They don't have the skills to maintain a healthy relationship, so they don't know how to be a healthy partner, and they end up sabotaging their partnership. So let's look at how people actually sabotage their relationships. The first theme here was relationship withdrawal. So one of the sub-themes here was partner withdrawal and distancing. So things like stonewalling, shutting down, avoiding your partner before they have a chance to do it first, keeping physical and emotional distance from them, avoiding vulnerability. Men tend to stonewall more, but when women do, it's more predictive of divorce. The second sub-theme was emotional detachment, so being emotionally checked out, not disclosing or expressing emotions, being numb, resorting to addictions and distractions. And the third sub-theme was withdrawing effort, so avoiding conflict, self-protecting, sucking it up, acting unbothered. The second theme was defensiveness, so righteous indignation, as they called it, or self-victimization as a result of a perceived attack. For example, Kat's character in Euphoria in season 2, I think, really demonstrates this well, where she is having a conversation with her boyfriend and she very obviously wants the relationship to end. She wants them to break up, and so she starts a fight, and then he's like, it sounds like you're wanting to break up, and then she says, oh my god, I can't believe you would say that. If that's what you really want, then fine. That's a good example of using defensiveness to sabotage your relationship. Defensiveness can also include things like distancing, withdrawing, and stonewalling. The third way is by pretending. So deceiving yourself about your feelings, or looking through rose-colored glasses at your relationship, pretending the relationship is better than it is, justifying things, rationalizing your partner's behavior, excusing it, pretending that your feelings are mutual if maybe they're not. Basically, fooling yourself, denying things, pretending that reality is not what it really is. Another theme was relationship pursuit, which is basically clinging to the relationship. A sub-theme here was partner pursuit, so chasing an emotional connection, either positive or negative, it didn't matter. pleasing the partner, so people pleasing, becoming overbearing, really self-sacrificing your own happiness to make up for your partner, and bargaining, so things like begging your partner to stay with you, promising to do anything to get them back or to keep them. A fifth theme was partner attack, so things like criticism, complaint, judgment, hoarding the power in the relationship, blaming the other person all the time, not taking responsibility when it's your fault. That can definitely be a form of sabotage as well. And then the sixth way that people self-sabotage was the pursue-withdraw dynamic. So one person doing both depending on the partner's mood or the partner's own feelings or events that have transpired. So one person either withdrawing in some moments and pursuing in others. So this is all great. We know why people do it and how people do it, but how do we stop doing it? What are some strategies to stop self-sabotaging? The first step really is to gain insight into what it is that you're doing. So watching this video, great start. It's a great way to realize, oh, this is how I sabotage my relationships and this is why I do it. And then becoming more mindful when you're actually doing it in the moment. Afterwards, the themes that they came up with were trust, communication, commitment, safety, and acceptance. So starting with trust. Honesty, loyalty, being reliable, having mutual respect for your partner. That's a great tenet of not sabotaging. Communication, this is, openness, giving feedback in both directions, perspective taking, like having empathy for your partner, discussing something before it becomes a major issue while it's still small and fixable, expressing it when you're hurt, all the things that are associated with open communication. Commitment means being emotionally available, working on problems, not just avoiding them or being willing to throw out the whole relationship, accepting the good and the bad, being proactive, working as a team with your partner. Fourth theme was safety, so being vulnerable, but also being secure in your relationship, having safety from fear or harm. And the fifth theme was acceptance. So acceptance that being hurt will sometimes happen in relationships, that's inevitable and you can't live your life in fear all the time, sabotaging all your relationships. And also accepting that your partner has faults and that they should be accepted for that too, that there is nobody who is perfect. So what are some real life applications based on the findings of this study? If you are the saboteur, what are some things that you can do? Don't withdraw, shut down, or distance yourself. Be present, be emotionally open and vulnerable. If you catch yourself beginning to stonewall or retreat, get yourself back there and realize it won't happen in the end. Force yourself to confront your partner in a neutral manner and to work through your stuff. Don't get defensive. Don't blame your partner. Take responsibility for your role in problems. Don't pretend things aren't the way that they are. Don't be in denial about your relationship or how you feel or how your partner feels. Be upfront if you're not in this. Be honest with yourself if your partner isn't. Don't pretend that your relationship is better off than it really is. Open your eyes, gaze at reality even if it isn't what you want to see. Don't excessively cling to your relationship or the partner. Don't try to get a reaction out of them no matter what. Don't sacrifice your needs for theirs. Don't let your needs take a back seat. Don't beg for them to stay. Don't make grand promises that you can't possibly keep. Don't attack, criticize, or blame your partner for no reason. Treat them with the same respect that you would accord to someone whose good graces you're trying to get, not the disrespect that you're able to give someone who you think is just never going to leave you. Don't overly pursue. Don't overly withdraw. Just be securely present with your partner. Don't chase, don't run. Walk together, walk alongside each other, enjoy the ride. Notice when you're self-sabotaging, identify it, label it internally, acknowledge it. Show your partner trust, act in ways that prove they can also trust you. Be loyal, be reliable, be truthful, be respectful, don't make wild accusations. Show that you're committed to stuff, show that you're willing to work on problems, be with someone that makes you feel safe. Don't be afraid of being vulnerable, that will strengthen the relationship. Accept your relationship for what it is, accept your partner for what they are, and accept if this is not the relationship that you want to be in. So this was the study by Pielk and Caltabiano from 2021. I hope that this was helpful. Let me know if you struggle with sabotaging relationships, if any of these findings resonated with you, or if you will be using any of them in your future relationships. Put that in the comments down below, as I would love to hear, and I will see you soon.